Hey, I bet you were hoping that you weren't going to see me today, but I put together this little video to kind of help remind you of what we've been talking about yesterday. So you don't have to write this down, but I just want you to pay attention to the video. I'll help you with the assignment that you have today. So here we go. Just bear with me. All right, so in this video, I'm going to talk about the exponent property multiplication. So now there's a property for multiplying exponents that says when you have a base, b, times another base, so you have, it's very important, and this only works if you have the same bases. So when you multiply, your base is going to remain the same. Well, what happens is if you take any exponent number, so I'll use the letter m to represent an exponent we don't know, and I'll use n to represent this exponent that I have no idea what it is. The rule says if the bases are the same, keep the base, and then what you're going to do is you'll add the exponents. So m plus the n. And again, m and n are just placeholders. They could be any numbers that you can think of. They just represent the unknowns. So let me give you an example of this. So if we take, say, 4 to the third power, and you're going to multiply it by 4 to the second power, 4 squared. So I'll notice right away that I have the same base so that I can use this cool little property. So first I'll show you what's called expanded form. So if I take 4 to the third, I know that's 4 threes, so 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 squared, which is 2 more 4s. So expanded out, that's 1, 2, 3 4s for this one, 2 4s for that one. Now if I write it in exponential form, I can see that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4s, so that's 4 to the fifth. Okay? So that's where this idea of adding exponents comes from. So using the property, I take 4 to the third times 4 squared. And now I take 4, and then I'm going to add these two exponents. So 4 to the third plus the 2 from here, I get 4 to the fifth. So I get the same answer. It's just one is what's called expanded form, and the other one kind of uses the property for multiplying exponents. So let me run through a couple different examples for you. Cool, isn't it? You excited? Good, good, good.
I don't get it. Damn, Snooky, you so dumb. All you gotta do is add the exponents. Go ahead, Mr. Morris. Keep on.
Yeah, I'm sure you're saying some very unpleasant things right now, which is not cool. All right, so 5 to the third, or 5 times 5 to the third. Now you notice this one doesn't have any exponent. Well, if there's no exponent, you can think of a 1 being there. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 on my paper so if it helps me. So now I'm going to go ahead and use the property. So bases are the same, so I can go 5, and then I'm going to take this exponent, 1, and I'm going to add it to that other exponent. So I'm going to use this property up here. So I have 5 to the fourth power. Okay? Now using similar, if I take a, which is a variable, times 4 to the a to the fourth power. All right, now this one's a little different because this piece, this term here has a coefficient number in front of the variable. This one doesn't. So I'm going to use that idea, well, if there's no coefficient here, well, I can put a 1 here. And I'm going to notice this a doesn't have an exponent either, so I'm going to use the same idea I used here. I'm going to put a 1 here. So by adding this on my paper, it kind of helps me to make sense of all this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the coefficients just as I normally would. So that's 1 times 4. So I'm going to show all my work here. So 1 times 4. So I multiply the two coefficients. And then I've got an a here. So I'm just going to automatically write down an a. Automatic. Now I'll do some work to figure out the exponents. Well, a has a 1 here. And on this term, a has a 4. So I'm going to add those together. So a tiny bit of math, no calculator required. 1 times 4 is 4. A, automatic. And then I'm going to add the 1 and the 4, so I get a to the fifth power. So hopefully this is sinking in and you're looking at your paper and you're saying, oh, this is pretty easy, I can do all this. So let me give you one more. This will be as hard as it gets for what you're working on. I'm going to say 4 times x squared times y. Okay, all written together means times. Times 2 times x to the third y to the 2. Okay? So I'm going to notice both of my terms here have coefficients that I'm going to have to multiply together. So I'm going to write this one a little bit differently, so you see a couple different ways of doing it. I'm going to take the 4 and I'm going to multiply it by 2. So I'm going to still multiply 4 times 2. So that gives me an 8. I've got an x and an x, so I'm going to automatically put down an x. And I see a y here, so I'm going to automatically put down a y. I'm going to do that stuff automatically because then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to mess around with the exponents. So I see the x here has a 2 and this x has a 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add those up. So 2 plus 3 is 5. So I got x to the 5th. And now I see that there's no number on the y, so I'm going to put a 1 there. So I've got an exponent of 1. And then I've got a 2 on this y, so 1 plus the 2 makes y to the 3. So hopefully you're finding that pretty easy. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Be good. See you tomorrow.
Dang, y'all, this is easy. Okay.